Hey everyone, we are talking about different categories of words. And you already know about the categories of nouns. You know that there are verbs. You might even know words like prepositions. Those are all different categories. Today we're talking about the category called conjunctions. And all throughout the year, we're going to ask you to make some observations and inferences, which is like an educated guess about the language we use. So we're going to ask ourselves, what does this language mean? Where else do I hear it? And um, if I don't know a word, I'm going to look for clues and see if I can guess what it means. So, for example, with the word conjunction, I put some picture clues here and I want you to look at them and write down on a piece of paper or in Notability what you think the word conjunction means before we get going on our lesson. So pause the video and go ahead and look at these, examine them, because these are my clues for what this might mean. Reminder about taking notes. You want to either split your screen and do your vocabulary work in Notability. Here's the list of words that I for sure want you to include, or you can always write it down on a piece of paper yourself in your notebook, but I want it all in one place. So back to our learning targets. What we are going to do is define conjunctions. We're going to understand there's three categories within the larger category of conjunctions. And we're going to specifically look at one of those categories called coordinating conjunctions and learn about the acronym FANBOYS. So to start with, there are so many conjunctions in English and in other languages. Conjunctions are these tiny linking words or phrases. They link words and phrases together. So I go like this when I say conjunction. They link or they put together phrases, words, or clauses. So let's look at an example. I like baking and dining, but I don't want to wash the dishes. That's an example of two conjunctions, the word and the word but. Those words by themselves don't have a lot of meaning, but what they have a really big job in that sentence because they tell us baking and dining are similar and they're linked together because they're similar. The word but is telling us that that first phrase, that was a positive thing, something I liked. And then the word but tells me, oh, something I don't like is about to come next because the word but tells me there's a contrast or something opposite coming. So that's why conjunctions are so important, is because they do this type of thing in the sentences. They tell us what this sentence might be about. They give us deeper meaning. If we don't understand the vocabulary words, at least we understand the idea of what's happening in the sentence, maybe. Why do we use them? Because it makes life simpler and it makes our language sound um, more precise. So sentences without conjunctions are here, and a sentence with conjunctions are right here, that same group of words. And if you read them, you will see the difference between those two groups of words. This is another way to draw or to take notes. You can draw a thinking map. This thinking map is called a tree map. The large title of the tree map is the big category of conjunctions. It has three branches: coordinating conjunctions, subordinating conjunctions, and correlative conjunctions. We are only going to focus on coordinating conjunctions this particular lesson. There's 7 of them, and they have an acronym that will help you remember what they mean. An acronym means the first letter of each of these words spells out fanboys. So if you can't remember what the 7 are, just write down the word fanboys with a little dot after each letter and capitalize each one, because that's what tells you it's not a word, it's an acronym. And you might remember that the F stands for and the Y stands for yet. Hopefully that will help you. So to look a little more deeply at this coordinating conjunction, and again, a reminder to pause the video and write down these definitions. So a coordinating conjunction, they are words that link or join independent statements of equal importance. So the difference here between the other types of conjunctions is that coordinating conjunctions, what's on one side of the conjunction has the same importance as what's on the other side of the conjunction. So let's look at the word the word and, the conjunction and. He lives in London and he works there. So living in London, working in London, it's the same amount of importance. The word and is joining those together. It means that they are similar things and they belong together. Let's look at the word but. This is also a joining word, a coordinating conjunction. It's used instead of joining two things that are similar, it tells us that there's a contrast that's coming. The first part of the sentence is going to be contradicted in the second part of the sentence, kind of similar to like the word opposite. So he was ill, but he went to work. So he was ill. Usually, when you're sick or ill, you don't go to work or school. So the word but is to show you, see, he did something unexpected. Usually, you don't go to work, but he did. Go ahead and look over this chart because these words all do something different in a sentence. Their function is to give you a clue, or to give all of us a clue as to what the relationship between these words is all about. We use them because they give us those clues, and it helps us to understand and to express our. So when we're reading, it helps us to understand what we're reading. And when we're writing, it helps us to express what we are wanting to say, to make sure that the people reading what we write understand our meaning. Your last page here is your assignment, your practice. You can either do it with a partner or by yourself. We are reading about Selva and the Long Walk to Water, and this is an example of 4 paragraphs that have some coordinating conjunctions in here. I'd like you to go through and highlight the coordinating conjunction and determine why it's there. What is it doing? Is it joining two things that are similar? Is it setting up a contrast? Is it doing something else? Is it talking about time in some way? Is it explaining cause and effect? Then, once you do that, you're going to realize that it doesn't have all of the fanboys. It doesn't have each of those words. So it says here on number 2, if you don't find an example of one of the fanboys, make up your own sentence. Use the coordinating conjunction that you couldn't find in this text. So for example, I'm going to give you a hint. There is no word yet in here. So what you could do is you could make a sentence with the word yet. You could make it bonus points for making it related to what you're reading about. That would be ideal. So another hint is that I found 7 coordinating conjunctions. I don't know if I was really, really good at finding them, but good luck, practice, and show me what you can do on this last page of the slide deck.